Today we're taking a really focused look, a shortcut, if you will, into a way of thinking that could genuinely give you back your most valuable assets,
Ah,
your time, your energy, your focus. We are diving into Joshua Becker's book, The More of Less.
yeah, and it's such a relevant topic.
Absolutely. Becker really digs into this paradox, something I think you listening probably feel quite often. We chase things, we buy things, we collect possessions, thinking they'll bring us, I don't know, happiness, security,
Status, maybe?
yeah, status. But the reality for so many is, well, the opposite, isn't it? It's debt, it's distraction, it's that kind of background hum of discontent from just managing all the stuff we don't even really use.
That feeling, that underlying stress, is exactly where Becker starts. So our mission today is really to unpack his idea of minimalism. And it's crucial to get past the stereotype. It's not about counting your socks or living like a monk.
Okay.
It's more about being intentional.
Intentional. How does he define it then?
Well, his definition is key. He says minimalism is the intentional promotion of the things we most value and the removal of anything that distracts us from them.
Mm-hmm. So the focus isn't really on the less part.
Exactly. It's about promoting the more.
Yeah.
The goal is what you gain, not just what you lose. We're looking at how clearing out the clutter, the excess, actually makes space for, well, the significant things in your life.
Okay, that makes sense. So where did this all kick off for him? There's usually an origin story, right?
Oh, definitely. A very vivid one.
Tell us about it.
It goes back to Memorial Day weekend, 2008.
Huh.
He's in Vermont. And he and his wife decided, right, let's finally tackle the garage. The classic two-car garage nightmare.
I think many of us know that feeling.
Totally. He paints this picture. It's so full of stuff, boxes piled high, bikes tangled up, that they literally had to turn sideways to squeeze past the cars to get in and out.
Wow.
It wasn't just messy. It was, a source of real frustration. And then the moment happens. His 5-year-old son, Salem, comes running out, wants to play.
And let me guess.
Yep. Becker has to say no. He gives him the classic line, as soon as I finish cleaning.
Oof. That hits home.
Right. Choosing the stuff over the relationship, essentially. And that feeling, that little pang of guilt or wrongness, was immediately amplified by his neighbor, June.
The wise neighbor appears.
Indeed. She sees him wrestling with the clutter and just drops this truth bomb. The more stuff you own, the more your stuff owns you.
Simple, but powerful.
Very. And she mentioned her daughter, who was minimalist, saying she just didn't feel the need to own all this stuff and how much freer she seemed.
That was the spark.
That was the lightning strike. Becker suddenly saw it clearly. His possessions weren't just not bringing happiness.
They were actively blocking it.
Exactly. They were
Yeah.
actually distracting me for the things that do, specifically, playing with his son. And the impact was immediate, profound. They decided right then, pretty much, to make a huge change.
Okay, so what did they do?
Get this. The family got rid of 50%, half, of their belongings within 6 months.
Wait, 50% in 6 months with kids. That's huge. That's not just decluttering. That sounds intense.
It absolutely was.
What about the emotional side? Was it really hard letting go of all that stuff? Any regrets?
That's a really important point. And yes, Becker acknowledges it was emotionally challenging.
Yeah.
But he kind of reframes it. He suggests the real difficulty, the real trauma wasn't the letting go itself.
Okay.
The trauma was the constant low-level stress and anxiety that clutter caused before these started. Think about it. The time spent finding things, cleaning things, insuring them, fixing them, feeling guilty about not using them.
Right, that hidden cost.
Exactly. It's like this invisible tax you pay on stuff you don't even really value.
Yeah.
So letting go wasn't the sacrifice. It was actually the relief. It was getting back resources.
That shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It's less about loss, more about recovery. Okay, so zooming out from the garage.
Right.
What are the big picture benefits? The more of less in action. What does Becker promise us?
Yeah, the payoffs are pretty universal, and they center around getting back those resources and, honestly, mental space. First off, and maybe the biggest one, more time and energy.
Okay, how so? Beyond just less cleaning.
Oh, way beyond that. Think about the time it takes to earn the money to buy the thing in the first place.
Right.
Then the time managing it, cleaning, organizing, fixing, replacing. But also, and this is key, the mental energy it takes up.
Mental energy. How does stuff take up mental energy?
Well, every item you own occupies a little bit of brain space, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where should I put this? It's broken? Should I fix it? Should I donate it? It's constant low-level decision-making.
Decision fatigue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates mental clutter, drains your focus, even when you're not actively dealing with the item. So reducing your inventory literally gives you back cognitive bandwidth, focus.
That makes sense. What's next?
The second big one is pretty straightforward. More money.
The practical bit.
Right. Stop buying things you don't need. Fewer things to maintain or insure. Suddenly, there's more cash flow. And that money isn't just saved. It can be redirected towards goals, towards security, towards experiences, rather than just more stuff.
Got it. Time, energy, money. What else?
Then we get into the more emotional, maybe psychological benefits.
Yeah.
Third is less comparison.
Ooh, that's a big one in today's world.
Huge. Becker quotes Will Rogers, which is just timeless. Too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like.
So true.
Minimalism kind of pulls you out of that game, that hamster wheel of trying to keep up with the Joneses or whoever. It's about defining success for yourself, not based on what others have.
And when you stop comparing.
You find the fourth benefit, more contentment. We're sort of conditioned to think the next purchase will finally make us happy.
Right.
But that feeling fades. The novelty wears off.
Oh.
Yeah. So contentment isn't about the next acquisition. It's found when you break that cycle. When you remove the noise of consumerism, Becker argues, you can actually start to hear what you truly want, what really matters to you. That's where the real more lies.
That leads nicely into the why, doesn't it? Because it's not just about the sheer volume of stuff, although that's staggering. I read somewhere the average U.S. home is something like 300,000 items.
It's wild, isn't it? And that stat, about 25% of people with two-car garages not being able to park cars in them?
Yeah, because they're full of clutter. But Becker says the problem is deeper. It's internal. Why do we accumulate so much in the first place?
Right. It gets into our core motivations. He suggests that a lot of this overaccumulation is basically a misguided attempt to meet fundamental human needs with things. Trying to buy feelings you can only really get through relationships or purpose.
Like what kind of needs?
Well, a big one is security. We mix up wants and needs. We think if I just have enough stuff, enough money, I'll be safe, insulated from the world.
But that security often costs something else, right?
It really does. He shares this story about a working mom, convinced she had to work crazy hours for the family's financial security.
Okay.
Then she overhears her 8-year-old son telling a friend, "Mommy and Daddy aren't home a lot." Pow! Huge realization.
Wow.
She and her husband saw they were trading actual relational security, being present for their kids, for this idea of security based on money and possessions, chasing the wrong thing entirely.
That's powerful. What's the other driver?
The second one is acceptance. Buying things to fit in, to feel normal. We even apologize if our house isn't perfect or if our carpet's a bit worn. We're conforming to these unspoken rules.
Yeah, keeping up appearances.
Exactly. But Becker flips this. He poses this really challenging question. What if we changed the norm? What if excess became embarrassing? What if having a giant house full of unused rooms or closets overflowing with clothes you don't wear? What if that was seen as, well, a bit off?
And responsible, intentional living became the standard instead.
Right. Imagine that shift. That's real freedom from social pressure.
Okay, so how do we start making that shift? It feels like a big undertaking.
It is. And that's why Becker emphasizes that the very first step isn't actually decluttering your closet.
No. What is it then?
It's clarifying your purpose, your why. You need to, as he puts it, identify the life you want to lead and then pursue the kind of minimalism that will get you there.
So figure out the more first.
Precisely. Before you touch a single object, you need to define what you're making space for.
How do you do that? Practically.
He suggests some deep questions for you, the listener, to really sit with. Things like, what problems in the world do you feel passionate about solving? If money wasn't a barrier, what work would truly draw you in? And what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
Those are big questions. Important, but maybe a bit daunting if you're just trying to clean out a drawer.
Totally. And Becker gets that, which is why he immediately follows up with the need for baby steps. Don't try to answer everything at once or declutter your entire life overnight.
So start small.
Yes. He shares his own early win. After the garage epiphany, one of the first things he did was clean out his Toyota Corolla.
The car.
The car. Took him less than 15 minutes, tossed out old CDs, fast food wrappers, junk mail. But that small act that contained victory gave him an immediate hit of calm and focus.
Ah, a quick win to build momentum.
Exactly. It proves the concept on a small scale. So the advice is start easy, Pick a small, manageable space you use often. Your car, a kitchen drawer, your nightstand. And look for duplicates. If you've got 5 whisks, maybe you only need 1 or 2.
Right. Get rid of the obvious excess first.
Yeah. Those small wins free up a tiny bit of mental energy, and you can immediately feel the benefit, which motivates you to tackle the next small area. It connects the action back to that purpose you defined.
Which brings it all together. The ultimate goal isn't just less stuff, it's
Pursuing significance. It's about freeing up the resources, the time, the money, the energy, the focus that were tied up in managing possessions, and redirecting them towards what truly matters to you.
like his own example.
Absolutely. Because minimalism drastically reduced their family's financial needs, Becker found he had the capacity, the time, and resources to start the Hope Effect. It's a nonprofit working to change orphan care models around the world, focusing on family-style homes.
So the less directly enabled, the more of making a difference.
That's the core message. Living intentionally creates that dividend. Minimalism isn't the end goal. It's the tool that helps you maximize your ability to live out your values, to pursue that legacy.
So circling back then, it all hinges on that definition, the intentional promotion of the things we most value. The question isn't just, what can I get rid of?
No, the real question is, what is the more I'm trying to make space for? What am I hoping to achieve with the resources I reclaim?
Okay, so as we wrap up, a final thought for you to chew on this week. Becker talks about this final stage, perhaps the most satisfying one.
The generosity part.
Right. Finding richness in turning your excess, whether it's time, money, or actual stuff, into someone else's supply through donation, through service. So the challenge for you listening is this. What specific excess in your life right now might be distracting you from your most important purpose?
Identifying that distraction. That's your starting point. That's where your own deep dive begins.